Good morning, everyone. This is Nikachu, the Merfolk Master, and we are here with day 143 of Coffee and MTG, the morning talk show, where we discuss all things Magic the Gathering. And the first half of this show, oh, you better believe we're going to be brewing up the Magic discussion, both doing Q&A and talk all things topics Magic the Gathering. And in the second part, we are going to do Decklist review. So if you ever wanted to get some feedback on your 75 in basically any format, historic, standard, modern, pioneer, submit it to us, and both myself and the community can help give that feedback. So brew up the coffee and let's brew up the magic. Step 1, brew up coffee. Step 2, brew up magic. I feel like I just jumped out of bed. Like I didn't wash my hair. We're doing this raw. Usually I wash my hair before we go on the show. It's no big deal. If you're in your pajamas, it's all good. Nikachu's basic. I feel like I'm in my pajamas. So let's have a good day. Let's have a wonderful discussion today. So the hot news, however, right now is that Magic the Gathering Online is broken. And I'm not saying that it's like ban worthy. No, I'm saying like it doesn't work. It doesn't work. There's a lot of bugs. There was a massive update. Maybe this is like the largest update to Magic the Gathering Online. Well, I don't know how big of an update it is. All I'll tell you is that they made me uninstall it and then reinstall it. Like it wasn't like your standard update. So if you're having problems with Magic the Gathering Online, you're not the only ones. I mean, there's a lot of people who cannot even download the client, and then even people who do download the client, like myself. Oh, the bugs are numerous. Like the client crashes every single time you're done sideboarding. That happened to me last night while I was streaming. There's a lot of people who are having difficulty just downloading it. It looks like the page is different now. It looks like the page has changed. Because I think from here, wizards.com/fr/content/download, I do see a download button. I do click it, and it does says you have the choice to open setup.exe. So maybe they have fixed this button so you can now actually download Magic the Gathering Online at the moment. But outside of that, I mean, we had users M515, I think was there. PC crashed all over the other side, and the client crashed all over the place. There's other like really funny bugs, like the attack all button is gone. So if you right click the client to attack with all your creatures, it's not there. So if you're playing a tokens deck on Magic the Gathering Online right now, that sucks. They removed the option to talk to my opponent in chat. Like, did they like add an upgrade to an older version of Magic the Gathering Online and then pushed that, and then like everything that they've been working on for the past, I don't know, year had disappeared or something? Like, this is ridiculous. It was a pretty sad update. Yeah, it was a disaster. It was a disaster. Good morning, Pat Hernandez. As a PC user, you should be used to crashes by now. Well, the thing is, oh man, I forgot about the crashes. I forgot. I'm a Mac user. I'm an Apple fanboy. You know that. I only have this PC strictly to do this content, to play Magic the Gathering Online, this quality program, which Magic the Gathering Online is certainly representing Windows programming. Good morning, Gus. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Thomas. I'm actually doing pretty good. All things considered, had a great night's sleep, had a great... Well, I don't know. I enjoyed my stream last night. We'll just put it that way. I had a good time. It was a little rocky. I still have to file for reimbursement in one of those leagues, but I enjoyed myself. And I enjoyed everyone who showed up randomly in the evening to make up for the downtime that there was. Like, I couldn't do my scheduled stream on Wednesday because Magic the Gathering Online was offline for maintenance and this big upgrade. Which by the time it started work was an absolute disaster. In one of my matches, I will say this: if you're money sensitive, you're not a pro or anything, maybe stay away from Magic the Gathering Online for like a day until it's clearly been fixed. I mean, you can always file for reimbursement, and they're actually really good about it. So, but like the client is crashing a lot. And what's it called? I got kicked from one of my matches, so I go to sideboard. I'm done. I lost game 1. Client crashes after sideboarding, which was completely standard, by the way. I got disconnected every single time I sideboarded. And then when I get back to the client, it just booted me from my match, and I was just 0-2. I lost the match. Good morning, Rude Senpai. Yeah, command explain quality. Magic the Gathering Online is a quality program, as has been for a very long time. My PC does not crash at all, except when I am doing dumb shit. I haven't played since the update, but it's happened to me a few times where it hides the chat. See, there's an option that you can get the chat back, but it was gone. The option had disappeared, or the functionality disappeared. Direwolf, good morning. Good morning, JK Torborg. I hate this update. I got my first turn skipped 5 times if I were on the play. Yeah, it's ridiculous. You know, I have to say, so a long time ago, maybe not everyone knows. Let's get a picture of Magic the Gathering Online up. I just want something. Where's an image? Just to represent the brand. Sure. This will do. Oops. There we go. So, like, a long time ago, Magic the Gathering Online used to crash, like, nonstop. It was pretty bad. It has improved so much. Like, the crashing that I experienced last night, it was somewhat on par to how it just normally used to be. Like, and it was really frustrating, because if you were, like, losing in a game, the last thing that you wanted to happen is that you get disconnected from the game and you're struggling to get back online to join it. But it really had, the product has improved a lot to a point, like, most of the bugs have disappeared. And I think the only people who complained about computer problems are those who have, like, a really bad old computer. But anyway, it's a flashback. You know how they do those flashback drafts? We have a flashback client where we are experiencing the nonstop bugs and crashing that used to be the old Magic the Gathering Online. Is it me, or does Magic the Gathering Online logo look like some Illuminati bullshit? Take it for what it's worth, people. It's all open to interpretation. Good morning, Dexter Johnson. Yeah, being disconnected during sideboard was normal. These are all, by the way, these are all features, people. These are not bugs. I'm just kidding. It's all bugs. Are you going to play Modern today? I don't plan on playing today, but if I play today, it might end up being Legacy, because I gotta prepare for Jim Davis versus Nikachu this Monday, people. It's gonna be Goblins versus Merfolk. 3 formats: Modern, Historic, and Legacy, to see who's the best tribe in Magic. And I only imagine we know we're the massive underdogs here. Everyone, we know that we're the massive underdogs, so we got to do our best. So anyway, I more or less have the Modern deck ready. I just need to play test a little bit of Legacy and maybe a little bit of Historic. So, but generally the rules are we just play the deck that we would have anyway for the format, and then just clash them against each other. Yeah, El Rodeo San. So I mean, tune in. It's going to start. It's actually, we're not going to have a Coffee and MTG on Monday, because it's going to happen exactly on that day, on Monday. It's at 9:00 a.m. Central Standard Time. So if you're here for Coffee and MTG, you will be here for the Merfolk versus Goblins match, which should be interesting. Good morning. Been playing Cold Steel lately. It's confirmed. That's going to be so amazing to watch. Historic, yikes. Hey, I am more looking forward to the other formats than Modern. Everyone's like, well, Legacy's terrible, Historic's terrible. Maybe you'll have a chance in Modern. No. Modern is the format we're throwing away. I have no chance in that format. I'm just going to hope he doesn't draw Muxus. I'm going to play Mistcaller. I'm gonna play Mist Caller for that stupid Muxus in Historic, but and then Legacy, I think we might have a chance in Legacy. I'm gonna play the Chrome Box version and just be like a lot more faster. How hard do you want to blatantly meta call? I'd like to, but I'm not going to. Or I will play cards that I would play in this format. You know, Damping Matrix. I'm going to be playing Damping Matrix in my sideboard. It's good against Devoted Company. Also happens to be good against Goblins. My league almost consisted of all tribal decks the other night. It's a tribal world out there. It was my league last night. Did I play against, I don't know, for anyone who watched the stream, did I play against 4 or 5 Oops All Spells decks in 2 leagues? It was like, this is an Oops deck. Okay, this is another Oops deck. Okay, I play a few other matchups. Oh, look at that. Oops again. And then Oops another time. And I was definitely plus on the lead. I was definitely plus. I only lost to 1 Oops. And I won the rest of them. Missed Caller from the sideboard was key. And also... yeah, just Mist Caller and the hate was enough. I did enough. The hate was enough. For main deck dismember, go. Which tribe do you consider the best at the moment? Humes, Elementals, or Goblins? Spirits. I would say Spirits is the best tribe right now. You missed the best one. And it's almost all on the back of Skyclave Apparition. Probably their best upgrade right now. Amazing upgrade for their deck. It's a spirit. It's a spirit that can get pumped up by their lords. So I think the Bant Spirit deck is probably where you want to be. I think that's the best. I think that's the best deck. I think it's the best tribal deck right now. Bant Spirits. Play Land Destruction and Legacy because you know he's going to be mulling to the Caverns. Well, but I don't think he needs Caverns though. Will you be running Mono Blue and countering everything? I will play Mono Blue and Legacy, and I'm going to be playing Simic in both Modern and Historic. Because you need to play Simic in Historic. There's no choice. Or I think there's no choice. Why don't they print Master of Ways in Historic? That might be good enough. Good morning, Kyoka620. Good morning, Rodent. By the way, blue-green with Oko is real effective. Oh, you mean blue-green in Legacy. But that's not the deck I'm playing right now. I imagine it is, though. I imagine it. Is it? Can you beat a Muxus? Can Oko beat a Muxus? Sounds aggressive. Yeah, you can watch the match next week. Just show up at the exact same time that you guys normally do. Historic is great. Historic is awful. We got 2 contracting opinions here. 4Cage main board. We're gonna have it in the sideboard, but we will have the cage. I just need the wild cards. I got no wild cards. I need like Mist Callers. I need Botanical Sanctums. I need these Grafdigger's cages. They cost wild cards. I don't have these wild cards. I'm ruined. You know what I also noticed in Historic? If I sacrifice Merfolk Trickster, I could play with Gigantha. I don't know, for anyone who's playing Historic, is that a worthwhile trade-off? Like, do we need Trickster? Because if you get rid of it, you can play Gigantha very easily. Like, replace Brazen Borrower with, like, Kamena, Tyrant of Arazka. Not too bad. Not too bad. Curious what people think. I'm starting to think, like, what if I play with Kamena, Tyrant of Arazka right now? 2/4 creature, not a bad blocker. Card advantage, putting counters on my things. It was 5 times we played against Oops All Spells 5 times. It was 50% of the metagame. I'm relatively convinced I have to have Mist Caller. It's actually like one of the best cards against them. I think they'll have more hate for artifacts and enchantments than they will our creatures. Maybe that's not entirely true, but like Mist Caller is a beating. No, we lost to Ad Nauseam. We got booted from that match. We lost one. Yeah, we lost one game. Banned Spirits are better for the 3-drops, but they've got good 2-drops. I mean, Selfless Spirits. Oops. Selfless Spirit. Rattle Chains is good. The weakness is they don't push as much power as Merfolk, but they have natural evasion. The other disadvantage is that the one toughness is a big deal in this economy. Lava Dart, Walking Ballista, Plague Engineer. Maybe not as many Plague Engineers as there used to be, but still Plague Engineer. Trickster is too good to replace. Cage Ruins Coco, really good tech. Well, so if I so long stop them, it's better than like their Muxus is a much better Coco than our Coco. Let's just say that. Thieving Skydiver might see some play in Legacy. I might play it in Legacy. Steal their Vial. That Vial works for me now. I haven't even touched my copy of 3 yet. I don't like playing my Switch games. Oh, this is some conversation I'm not part of. Trickster is best fish. Trickster is beast mode. No one wants to replace Trickster with Giganta. Hey, Nikachu, unrelated to this, but do you or any of your viewers know how to fix the Magic Gathering Online installation issues? I've been locked out since yesterday. You should have been here. We were just talking about that. We started this thing. So for anyone just joining us, a lot of people are having these problems. I would say wait a day for people for things to get figured out. Maybe a few days. Maybe take a break for Magic the Gathering Online. A lot of people are having these issues even after Magic the Gathering Online says that they fixed them. So you just have to take it, I don't know, just try every single day. The download page looks different to me, unless I'm on a different download page. I'm at this magic.wizards.com/fr/content/download, and it does let me download. Am I allowed to download this? Is it downloading? Is downloading happening? Yep, I downloaded it. So maybe if you take it from this page, that's possible. But like, even if you get it downloaded, there's so many bugs. There's so many bugs. Like I was just explaining, I crashed every single. Let's get back to it. I crashed every single sideboarded game. The moment you click submit, the moment both people click submit Decklist and goes to the next game, it crashed. And then I have to restart Magic the Gathering Online. I did that I restarted Magic the Gathering Online, or I entered my username and password like more times than I ever have in one session. There is no attack all button anymore. You can't chat to your opponent anymore. What else is bugged? I hate that they make me reset all my options, like all my hotkeys were removed. I really hate that. I wish that's something that could be saved on my computer that's not saved on, saved on there in the cloud or something, not saved on my computer. Because I don't know, this huge uninstall, reinstall is nonsense. To the Illuminati, that's right. Well, no, here's the thing, Oil Rodeo San, it's not working for everyone. So some people can uninstall, but some people have trouble downloading, some people have trouble installing. So it's a pretty big mess. So you're not the only one. You're not the only one, Ichigo. I would just say wait try to download every single day, and then even then, I don't know, wait to hear the news like everything's back to normal. Let's all go play some great Magic Gathering Online. Let's fill the leagues. Let's bust open the Mana Traders account. Good morning, Willie Hall. So anyway, that's the situation. Are you ever going to test Skyclave and Blight Merfolk? No. I mean, maybe I will. Maybe I will. I'm just not that particularly interested in trying to force Skyclave and Blight Merfolk. I would really rather just play Blight Spirits if I really need to play this card. It's a good card, though. It is very good. I would say this. Okay, if I play Blight Spirits, I'll play a few copies of this card. Basically as the like Ensnaring Bridge answer. I always have like 2 copies of a card that like beats Ensnaring Bridge. This can be that. This can be that. That's just how it's going to be. Thieving Skydiver, basically the Merfolk equivalent of saying, I want that. That's right. I want that. And maybe Thieving Skydiver will be fine against some combo decks in Legacy, because sometimes to get underneath Chalice of the Void on 0, they'll play all their Mana Rocks immediately, like their Lion's Eye Diamond and stuff like that. So if I go Thieving Skydiver, take your Lion's Eye Diamond, goodbye Lion's Eye Diamond, you know what I mean? Current state of Magic the Gathering Online, that's correct. This is it. See, Tuckstuff says, I'm not touching my Magic the Gathering online until Sunday. At least hope it's fine by then. There's nothing wrong with this mentality. Just gotta do something else. I play chess. I play Among Us. Just gotta do something else for a little while. I would say if you're really hardcore and you don't mind facing bugs, then go for it. You know, I'm in that boat myself. But if you're super frustrated by bugs, just stay away for a little while. It's gonna come back. They're gonna update it. They're gonna fix everything. It just won't be immediately. Maybe this is Magic's way of pushing everyone into arena and kicking and screaming. Now that's tinfoil hat thinking right there. Oh, I made a blue-black list with you with the Slitherwisp. All right, we'll check it out later. I play Merfolk in Commander. It's great. And you've revealed yourself, Ichigo. You're either on an iPhone or a Mac device or a MacBook or something like that. The Menfolk, the most awful autocorrect on iOS or Mac OS. Karnfolk when? I don't know. I've played enough troll decks recently. Could you imagine if Skyclave Apparition had flying? Yikes. I can imagine it. The yikes is correct. Good morning, Alex. Should have countered Davis to play EDH instead of Historic. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I could do that. That'd be interesting. I'd play one-on-one Commander. I'm doing great. I had a great night's sleep. The sleep was so long that I basically didn't have much time outside of eating breakfast and jumping on this stream. Do you prefer the Magic Gathering online interface over Arena? I think I honestly do, and I can't really explain why. I guess the cards feel like more like cards on Magic the Gathering online and less like a flashy game. I prefer playing on Arena. Now, that being said, I don't like the 3D aspect of it. I would prefer it was two-dimensional, just like Hearthstone does. Like, I don't like the 3D thing. I actually think it makes it harder to understand the game from a viewer's perspective. Like, if I'm watching the game as a spectator and I see Magic the Gathering online, I very clearly can tell what everything is and what it does. In some cases, I can read the cards from where I'm watching. But on MTG Arena, because they're like down and textless, you can't tell anything. You don't know what anything does. You require like third-party software to understand what the hell is going on. But I much prefer I prefer Arena. I do like that. I like that it's a flashy game. I guess there are some people who don't like it as a flashy game, but basically it takes advantage of the digital space that is digital. Why do I need to? There are some cards with so many words on them that like it's pointless. You can't read it at all. Like, why even have it like that? Anyway, that's my preference. I do prefer playing on MTG Arena, but I prefer the economy of Magic the Gathering online and the events. Much more prefer the events. I won't lie, I had to play the Buggy client last night because Vintage Cube was going away today. You gotta do what you gotta do. Gotta get those Black Lotuses. Sling those Black Lotuses. I don't think it's a troll deck. Did you like Bolt Folk? I did. I did like Bolt Folk. I don't know where to... You know what I would really like? If the mana base could support it, I would not mind going Rug Merfolk. How do we make this mana base work, though? To have 14 red sources and a Simic shell. So I still have access to the Simic core, but I'm playing with Lightning Bolt and Bone Crusher Giant. That would be interesting, but I have no idea what the mana base looks like. No idea, because you need 14 red sources to make sure you have Lightning Bolt by turn 1. Does anyone? I mean, that could be a discussion. Like, can I open up a client or something? I guess I don't need to. Like, what lands can I play? I might be able to sacrifice the Mutavaults for something like Copperline Gorge or something like that. It's Copperline Gorge? Yeah, Copperline Gorge. I recently watched a very painful set of 3 chess games from anime girls who had no clue how to play. This is where I learned I might have a stain. The chess is a hell of a drug. why I like Magic the Gathering Online more than Arena, because it feels more like a card game. I like that. Arena has its own fair share of problems. Last update too. Last update, you could see people's ranks in the free play queue, so many people would just concede on the spot if your rank was high. Really hard to test decks. That's interesting. That's interesting. I think, well, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I would prefer that exists, but you could enter anonymously. Nikachu, are you still planning on trying out more modern vampires? If yes, do you know how often you'd stream that? Would you do it a given at a given week? I don't know how often I'm going to do it. I might, like, I'm not entirely certain what the future of myself and vampires is, because I'm trying to dedicate a little bit more time to merfolk to find a really good list right now to make it really competitive. But I don't really feel like I want to abandon vampires either, because there's something going with this archetype as well. But it's really uncertain how often I'm going to do it. Like, I may not have like a set day or anything to be testing vampires. Expect some vampires content still in the future, but like very sporadic. Yeah, it would not be beneficial cutting off one revenue stream, hoping for the other picks up over time, but I do feel that invest more on the new one. They need new players playing without paper, and Arena does feel more pleasing. Online is better for gameplay, but Arena is easier to sell to new players. Bolt could just be turn 3, but you really need the Bolt for turn 1. It's very important. Like, the point of playing even this deck is to have access to a removal spell that can kill creatures on turn 1. It's very, very important. Or mana dorks, for example. It's like a dismember that ideally isn't like losing too much life. And what I'm trying to get at is, like, you could make a rug mana base, but it would be very painful. I want a painless mana base. How do we make a painless mana base here? We need 14 red, 17 blue, I would say. And 4, 8, 10 green. Because the green Ether Vial can count towards green. How about spirits content again? I really want to play with Bant Spirits. So I can almost guarantee you I'm going to play a Spirits League somewhat soon. You know what? After playing with humans, I realize why it's not really that popular right now. It has like all the disadvantages of merfolk and spirits without a lot of good comeback potential. Total lands 20. We're not brewing Bolt Folk, but I'm interested. I would really love to play Bolt Folk, but with the rug colors. So I have that pressure that I have with Simic Merfolk. I can't get away from that pressure. That's good pressure. That's good stuff. But I would like to have access to Lightning Bolt and Bone Crusher Giant and a Braid. I think those are good things. Your brother didn't follow me on Twitter. I feel cheated. You gotta send him a DM or something. So the question is, how do I make a painless mana base with 14 red sources for Lightning Bolt, 10 green sources? I mean, the 10 green sources can be partially done with Cavern of Souls. Because the removal was quite pleasant. It was very pleasant. And you sort of want to be painless in this economy right now because of Soul of Skyclave. Scourge of the Skyclave. Scourge of the Skyclaves is a really huge incentive to not spend any life casting your cards. If you fetch Shock, your opponent can just play this on turn 2 as a 3/3 creature. Whereas if you keep yourself at a nice, healthy 20 life, this can be stuck in their hand. Would the modal lands work if you're running Bone Crusher, or is the 1 red, 1 blue, so green on turn 1 too risky to play that? I really need the blue and green very early. Again, like when we're playing this for red mana, when we're playing Lightning Bolt for red mana, we want this on turn 1. We need to have access to this on turn 1. I need to kill that Swift Spiral, right? I need to kill that Soulscar Mage because it represents too much damage. But if I play the modal land on red, then I cannot play turn 2 like Lord of Atlantis. You know what I'm saying? Or turn 2 Merfolk Mistbinder. Bone Crusher actually ended up being a really good card. Killed a lot of prowess creatures. You want the impossible. I want everything. Filter lands. I could use some filter lands for blue-green, but not for red. No, actually, I can't. I can't play a Comenda Speaker off of a filter land. Well, I mean, yeah, that's Copperline Gorge. See you later, M515. So I can play this card. I don't mind that. We don't want the impossible. We just want Merfolk to be tier 1. Impossible is tier 0. Well, there's a blue-red one, right? What's the blue-red one? But then we're still short 6 red sources. What's the blue-red one? I can never remember. New modal lands are really Sulfur Falls. No, this is not it. This is the check lands. What's the fast land? Spire Bluff Canal. It's a fast land because it comes out fast. The other one is a check land because it will check to see if you have an island or mountain in play. Just remember, there are fast lands and check lands. But it's easy to know which one's the check land because it checks to see if there's an island or mountain in play. You're not the only one, D Canadian Bacon. You're not the only one. I don't know how to make this mana base without using fetches. I mean, maybe you can just go blue-red. Maybe blue-red is not too bad. Like, I'm thinking of just going mono-blue because... Just because. I don't know. There isn't as much Tron. If Mistcaller is as good as I think it is for some of these these combo decks, maybe it's good enough. Yeah, I'd have to dump the Simic. Basic Land Shark, everyone is having the same problem. Not everyone. A lot of people are having issues. If you're having trouble, let's go back. Let's talk about it again. Oh no, where's my picture? There we go. Magic the Gathering Online is a quality program, Basic Land Shark. You know this. Anyway, a lot of people are having trouble installing it. So if you're having trouble, don't worry. It's not your fault. It's Magic the Gathering Online's fault. It's been their fault all day today and all day yesterday. So some people can get online. And even if you get online, you may not even be happy because it's going to crash like crazy. So just wait it out for things to actually just completely perfectly work. Wait for some tweets from me that says, okay, Magic the Gathering Online actually works now. Works as intended. You don't need blue on turn 1. You don't need blue on turn 1 the way I want to do it. I would need every other color. How is Magic the Gathering Online already 15 years old? Is it 15? I thought it was older, to be honest. But we could use some filter lands, Tuckstab. We could use filter lands. We can trick our mana base. But yeah, basically you do need blue by turn 2. Would Brineborn Cutthroat be in Bold Folk? Nope, not enough instants. Not enough ways of enabling it, even though we have some. You know, Brineborn is just not good enough. We need like way more flash creatures to really turn this creature on. And also, it's still a 1 toughness creature in the offset, which makes it very difficult to protect. Yeah, wait for Nikachu to give you the answers. Would you consider Pathways? Oh, that's no, because if I played on red turn 1, that I definitely do not have double blue by turn 2. Cannot play the pathways. It happens to be, I think. Well, there's a lot. There's more and more like Merfolk that are built in with Flash. So I mean, eventually it might become playable, but today it's not. I think these are very different cards. Emery is very clearly not a Merfolk. Period. Emery is like some artifact captain or something. I don't know. I don't know what to call her. Just play it in Legacy and use duels. Yeah, but we're looking for modern. We're trying to make modern work. I guess that the solid answer is we don't have the mana base yet. We got to just kick out one of the colors. I just have to go mono blue with a red splash. But it felt pretty effective. It felt strong. The only thing actually that screwed us was my painful mana base. So I need a painless mana base. I have to go in that direction like all the other blue-red decks that are popping up right now. We got to play a painless blue-red mana base. Simple as that. That's what we got to do. Bolt Folk versus Jim. Let's get a 5-0 with Bolt Folk so we can like justify playing this versus Jim. Let's do that. That sounds like a plan. We got to get Bolt Folk online and we're going to play it against Jim. That's how we're going to do it. Sounds like a plan. Well, that's Gruul Murph. Whoa. Although that is very loosely possible. As the Merfolk type simply because she's based on the Lady of the Lake and Wizards of the Coast wanted her to live underwater. Emery is a super trader. How about you copy the Is It Blitz mana base? I don't think that's painless, though. I think they use fetches, no? I might be wrong. I would copy somewhat the Kiki Jiki Exarch list. Please make Bolt Folk good. I really want to play my full art bolts. Do I have a full art bolt on me right now? I have like a full art bolt somewhere that I've like collected from GPs. No Lords and Gruul Merfolk. No, none. I mean, the closest would be Deeproot Waters or something. Oh, there we go. Grixis Merfolk. Now we're thinking. Why don't we just go to 5-color Merfolk? We just go back to Wooburg. Wooburg Merfolk on the way. Okay, do you know what time it is, people? Do you know what time it is? It's Decklist review time. So if you have a 75 you want to get reviewed by both myself and the community, go !deck review space, give the URL to your Decklist. And also please leave any comments that you might like to share with us. Particularly if it isn't already mentioned, let me know what the format is. Are you on a budget? What are you trying to beat? Do you need help with the sideboard, the main deck? What is the focus of this review? Let me know. And both myself and the community, we will help you out. We'll give you that feedback. And as everyone is giving this, submitting their deck list for Decklist review, we're going to thank our sponsors, starting with the manabase.com, the content creation site on Commander, Modern, Pioneer, Historic, and more. The Manabase is your home base for everything Magic the Gathering. And the Manabase is sponsored by Fusion Gaming Online, my favorite local game store. Deal of the week, save 20% off all Commander singles and sealed product at fusiongamingonline.com. Remember, it's a Canadian site and Canadian prices, so do not be... Does it ever say explicitly we're Canadian? There should be a big Canadian flag here somewhere. Like, pretty common concern is like, oh, these cards are all overpriced. No, it's just a Canadian site. Get out of here. And also, Mana Traders. We're going to... Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. If you want to try to play test your brew that you've brewed up, you know, don't invest in it until you know that it's going to work, so you can rent it with Mana Traders. And you can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or you can get 15% off your first 3 months by using my coupon code Nikachu. Tempo Mage subscribed 3 months in a row. Thank you very much, Tempo Mage. I appreciate it. What does Tempo Mage say? Tempo Mage also, this minute, they also submitted their deck list for Decklist review. Oh, make sure you repost it, Tempo Mage, with the Because I don't think you're in the pool. You submitted it with a subscription. Just make sure your list gets submitted. You're chosen at random, by the way. This is how it works. We use the command, you're put in a pool of deck lists, and then you're chosen at random. It's not a first come, first serve thing. If you're the last deck list submitted, you have just as much chance of getting reviewed as the first deck list that got submitted. And you can only submit one list. So if you submit a second list, then it just erases the old one. I would hate that Tempo Mage, your list is not in. Oh, your Tempo Mage resubmitted. Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, let's review some lists. Oops, I didn't do anything. All right, we got Shadow Walker. A brew I made when Kaladesh came out. Can read the descriptions for card choices, and I'm trying to find the right one drop to play and what to replace Tajic with. We need a one drop. What's the format? Historic. Oh, so you're talking about just Kaladesh that just came out, right? Okay, so Kaladesh just came out. How do we upgrade this deck, basically, is the question. And Tajic is... Where's Tajic? Tajic Legion. Oh, it's in the sideboard. That's easy to replace. Okay, we got Ginger Brute. Looks like an aggro soldier deck of some sort. We have a Danto Vanguard, or it's just white-red aggro. Containment Priest. Containment Priest looking not too bad, actually. Robber of the Rich. That's another thing. Like, we have a lot of room in Historic to go 3 colors. Like, more room in there than we do in Modern. Maybe we should consider going a 3rd color to combat the metagame. I don't know. Things to consider. They've got Rest in Peace, you know. Robber of the Rich. Fairgrounds Warden. ETB exile target creature. And opponent controls until fair... Oh, it's like Oblivion Ring. Militia Bugler. Skyclave Apparition. Okay, so you're playing both of them. Aurelia, Glory Bringer, Chandra, Torch of Defiance. Love it. I love that you got some top end here. So you're interacting with them on the early games, and then you're going over the top of them later. And this is reveal power 2. This is power 2, right? Yep. Nice synergy there between the Militia Bugler, which ETB looks for a 2-power creature, and Aurelia is a 2-power creature, so you can find your like top end bombs. Kabira Takedown deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control the target creature or planeswalker. Okay, so here's simple upgrade, I think. I believe this one is in Kaladesh Remasters. What's it called? Bomat Courier. Boom. Easy upgrade. Easy upgrade. Don't know what I'm removing here. Maybe the Ginger Brute. You can gain 3 life with this. But the thing is, like, the Bomat Courier, as it attacks like a million times, and you get to like draw a million cards after your hand is empty. So this could be a potential upgrade to the 1-drop slot that you're asking. Bomat Courier has been terrible. He lost me so many games, I had to remove it. All right. With that, then no Bomat Courier. What was wrong with Bomat Courier? Can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with haste. I guess your creatures are just big enough for the most part. Well, here's a good question. Why do you need a 1-drop? Like, what kind of 1-drop are you looking for? Because honestly, you're like a little bit more of a mid-range deck, right? Like you don't even need to have this aggro stuff at the bottom. You can start your game almost at like 2 mana. I would imagine that you should have something more interactive at 1 mana. He always exiles. Well, that's just okay. That's not a good explanation for why Bomat Courier is terrible, because he could equally exile the gas on top of your library. It's completely random what Bomat Courier exiles. That is not a good reason to remove Bomat Courier. Yeah, it exiles random cards. He is incapable of mana screwing you. This is exactly correct. So I imagine... Now, I don't know if it's better than Ginger Brute. Maybe being unblockable is more important, but Bomat Courier is pretty damn good. Courier is a strength card since you need to be able to build around it while staying with your game plan of your deck. So like that sort of kind of gets back to me. Like I think it might be an upgrade to Ginger Brute, but do we need Ginger Brute? Maybe you're better off with like an interactive spell on turn 1. Because you're more of a little bit of a mid-range deck where you start stabilizing by turn 3 and then you go over the top by turn 4 and turn 5. You know what I mean? You don't really need early aggression aggro unless you really need the 3 life from Ginger Brute. Okay, this is not a Shadow. This is not a reason to not play Bomat Courier. This is just luck. This is just bad luck. Bomat Courier cannot mana screw you. Bomat Courier doesn't know what's on top of your library. This is not a strategic reason to. This is not a strategic. Bomat Courier didn't screw you. Your deck screwed you because you don't have enough lands in it. And maybe this is the deal. You have 6 spells that act as land. Well, you have enough lands. You have 24 lands. 24 is enough. You have 18 lands plus these modal lands. Or these, what's it called? These spell lands. I get where both are coming from. But anyway, if you tested Bomat Courier and it was bad for those reasons, that's not a reason to not play the card. You just got unlucky. If you did not play Bomat Courier, you would have also gotten unlucky. You can't look at it like Bomat took your lands away from the top of your library and therefore you lost. You have to more look at it as because it could have worked the other way around. Bomat Courier equally could have taken the gas off of the top of your library and then given you the lands. So if I think Bomat Courier is better than Ginger Brute, or if you don't, but I would be totally open to not even playing Ginger Brute, and I would play like some interactive spell for 1 mana. I don't know what exists. Like, what's the closest thing do we have to Path to Exile? Is Condemn in the format? Oh, that's a good idea, Shock. Or there's a better Shock out there, not just Shock. There's like Wild Slash. Is Wild Slash not, or maybe Wild Slash is not actually. I think Wild Slash is actually yeah, cons. This might be too far. Yeah, not historic legal. Okay, Shock. I actually could get behind Shock. I could get behind Shock as your 1-drop, honestly. Because you're not really you're not really an all-out aggro deck. You sort of like to stabilize on the earlier turns of the game, and then you sort of you like overpower them later. And I don't know if the Ginger Brute really actually helps you in that game plan. You're a little bit more mid-rangey, I would say. So you should have a little bit more interaction. And like you can go over the top like later on in the game with these cards and stuff like that. By the way, I listened to Nikachu MTG, and the suggestions he made the other day are 100%. 100%! Some people have gone 5-0 from Decklist review. Anyway, those are my suggestions. Now, anyone can suggest a better card than Tajik Legion's End. Sounds like this card is not that good in the sideboard, or is worth removing. Because I don't know what's... Well, actually, do you know what we could do? That's a pretty good suggestion, actually. Bone Crusher Giant's actually a pretty nice card in a deck like this. Maybe that could even be what's in the sideboard here. Instead of Tajik Legion's End. I don't think the deck is that aggro. I think it's a very control. Like if you look at cards like Fairground Warden, Skyclave Apparition, these are like really controlly cards. Militia Bugler is only a 2/3 with Vigilance. It's a little bit more on defense, I think, than it is on offense. Containment Priest, these are all. It's a deck that's just sort of trying to stabilize in the earlier turns of the game. I never bring. Yeah, that's totally fair. That's totally fair. How about Bonecrusher Giant? How about we run this? There's certainly going to be a lot of games where you're going to bring this card in. It's main deckable, honestly. But if you can't find room in the main deck, I would just I would run this one. Just joining. Any talk of the insane Reclaimer run in the Legacy qualifier? Nope. Didn't even hear about it. F Pavlush, is Pavlush like on the roll with something? Does he found something? Is crop rotation on a creature good in Legacy, just as it is good in Modern? Oh, that's crazy. That's pretty hot. Definitely, if you have a really good deck and it's like, how do I put it, unknown, because I'm sure he brewed something up, then it's a lethal combination. I remember episode 1 of Coffee and MTG. I was here when the concept was conceived. Awesome how far we got. Yep, that's thanks to my computer completely breaking down, desperately trying to get some content in. Bonecrusher Giant is a card asking to be banned. I don't think so. Bonecrusher Giant is like really fair. Super fair card. It's a very, very fair card. It would be certainly the odd one out if you look at the ban list. People would be scratching their heads. What's Bonecrusher Giant banned? Well, you know what? It just killed too many 2-toughness creatures, and that just couldn't be allowed in the format. You couldn't play 2-toughness creatures in Modern. Yeah, Bonecrusher Giant was pretty fair. It's probably the best of all the adventures, hands down. It ended up being the best one, but it's very, very fair. Anyway, I could suggest this. If anyone else has any suggestions to replace the Tragic in the sideboard, well, here's a great question. What are you losing to that we could maybe fill the sideboard slots with? Shadow Mage. Oh, sorry, Shadow Walker. You know what? I like Brazen Borrower, but doesn't see nearly as much play as Bonecrusher Giant amongst all the formats. I mean, this thing sees more play everywhere. I'm mostly losing to Mana Screw and Uro/Nisa Piles. Well, everyone loses to Mana Screw. Okay, well, what do you mean by Mana Screw? Like, you can't get enough lands, or you cannot get the right color of lands on curve? Those are two different questions. So you do have 24 lands, which can be tough to get to these. Maybe you got to go, you know what? I could, because you're at 4, because your curve tops is so desperately at 4 mana and higher, you should go to 25 lands. You know, I played 24 lands in Jund and it wasn't enough. I couldn't even get to my Karn the Great Creator mana. You actually should you should increase your land count. You should go to 25, 26 lands, because you need to get to that 4th land for Chandra, Torch of Defiance. You need that 4th land for Aurelia. You need that 5th land for Glorybringer. And you know what? I think you could suck it up, because, I mean, you can play more of these spell lands if you have to, but also you've got Militia Bugler to help find more gas anyway. So 24 is actually pretty low for a... 24 would be fine if the top of your curve was just a few 4-drops. You got 9 cards, 4 mana or higher. Well, there's your mistake. I think you should go to 25/26. I think you should go back. Ginger Brute. You don't have any card draw for lands, so I think actually that you should go back to the lands that you did have. And then Containment Priest is probably for Muxus and the Oven decks. Yeah, and I guess Coco. I don't know how many Coco decks there are right now in the format, but I guess there are quite a few Coco decks. Can we play Bant Merfolk with Containment Priest? Is that a thing? Is that something we can do? It has flash. Flash it in like Merfolk. They won't know. Do we have Merfolk Trickster? Do we have Containment Priest? Who knows? Could be anything. We could play anything. There is sort of a primer below. All right. So with Kaladesh finally in Historic, we have Chandra in the format. Excellent card, really. Super powerful. Maybe want to test it again to make a non-prison red-white work in Historic and build around her with Skyclave Apparition. Totally fine. Card choices. 1, drop Ginger Brute. Used to be Bomat Courier, but this card enrages me. For the wrong reasons, though, Shadow Walker, for the wrong reasons, you should put it back. You should put it back. Or don't... honestly, no. I think you should just play with Shock. Just play with Shock instead. I think you should have more of a mid-range plan. Adanto Vanguard, not bad. Good card. Good 2-bot. Well, this is too much of a essay for me, but not on the chopping block. But if a 2-drop with less painful protection becomes too prevalent, it could go. Robber of the Rich is great. Containment Priest, mostly a curve filler, but it does give some useful edge. Game 1 against Goblins. Jund Sacrifice and Company always side them out for Rest in Peace against Uropiles. And yeah, so I think your mana. Well, anyway, your mana problems are due to the fact that 24 lands with a deck that's trying to curve into 4-drops and 5-drops. So you need to go to 25, at least 25 lands, potentially 26. I think the Ginger Boost should be Shocks, and I guess replace Tajik with some Bone Crusher Giants. Although I think that's a bit weird. Maybe you should have Bone Crusher Giant in the main somewhere. You said something was a curve filler. But I think Containment Priest main is fine. If Vanguard is meant to block stuff, then maybe this should be Bone Crusher Giant, right? That's possible. It's less painful. Well, neither does Adanto Vanguard. No, we need something to do on turn 1. You can't. I mean, well, I don't want to say, I never want to use the word can't, but you should have something to do on turn 1. Otherwise, on the draw, you're really screwed. You're really screwed. Anyway, those are all the suggestions I've got. Nice list. Nice upgrades. Upgrade your land counts. Thank you very much for submitting the list. All right, let's move on with another list. Thank you very much, Shadow Walker. Kalingi from Brazil. This is a tribal elf stack for Pioneer. No budget. Pioneer Elves. Pioneer Elves. Looks pretty good. Okay, so we got Elvish Mystic as our ramp card. Llanowar Elves. Pelt Collector. Elvish Clan Caller. Dwinnen's Elite. It's actually amazing how much of an elf deck that you can make out of this. Steel Leaf Champion. Dwin. How many of these do we have? 4. Dwinnen, Gilt Leaf, Deans, Reach. Another Lord. Whenever Dwinnen, Gilt Leaf, Dean attacks, you gain 1 life for each attacking elf you control. That's pretty good if you can get that off. I think you have too many Nylias. This is a lot of Nylias. I could be wrong. Maybe you really need it. It doesn't give anything. Oh, no. Other creatures you control have trample. Okay, maybe you need it. Maybe this is important. And then we have 4 Collected Company. We have 4 Collected Company. You have 4 of these. Yeah. First immediate response is play more Coco. I wholeheartedly agree. We need... Oh, Coco is actually not that good in this deck. Look at our 3-drops. It's actually not amazing. I would still play more, but it's not great. Definitely not amazing in this deck, because like we're trying to dig. Well, we're still trying to dig to Lords. This is a Lord. We can't. There are no other Lords in this format. Say it ain't so. Say it ain't so. Okay, what does Vivian do? Okay, I can't read it. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library. Very strong effect. Create a green beast creature token. Put your choice of vigilance, reach counter, or trample counter on it. That's good. Whenever you cast your next creature spell this turn, search your library for a creature card with lesser converted mana cost. Put on the battlefield. That's also very strong. Don't know how easy it is to cast this though. You have a lot of mana, or you have a decent chunk of mana. What's your mana base? 22 lands with 4 Nykthos. That's definitely correct. There's got to be some better lands to go and play. Like, I'm sure that you can play Castle Garenbrig in this mana base. Like, at least a few Castle Garenbrigs here. Oops. Castle Garenbrig. 6 mana. Spend this only mana to cast creature spells or activated abilities of creatures, which you obviously can take advantage of in a deck like this. Castle Garenbrig. Yeah, this is Pioneer. Pioneer Elves. So, like, 6 mana can search out the next Elvish Clan Caller. And, like, you've got enough lands for this. Like, 22 is going overkill. Sorry, you have 18... I think with 18 forests, you can play at least... I think you can play 4 of these very easily. Play the green oasis that pumps a creature. That might be damage. Like, that's not totally free. Because that you take damage every single time you tap this for green mana. You may not want... Like, in Pioneer, one of the best decks are Burn. You might not want that one. And it's only sorcery speed. It's an option. It's an option out there. Like, it just pains me to see these, like, pure forest mana bases. Oh, Turn Timber. Oh, absolutely. Now, that one is worth it. The Turn Timber Symbiosis. Oh, that one's a good one. Oops, I didn't spell this right at all. Okay, let's get... You got to play this one. Now, this one is worth 3 damage. I don't know how many you play of these. Let's read this bad boy. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may put a creature card from among them on the battlefield. If that card has converted mana cost 3 or less, it enters with 3 additional +1/+1 counters on it. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Are these really the best elves we have access to? Some of these feel really poopy. What about the shaman? I don't know if we have access to that in black. Honestly, I really don't like the black-green builds just for shaman. It's not a big deal. Beast Whisperer for draw? That's possible. It might be better than Vivian, Monstrous Advocate, or some... I think we do need this Nylia's. How do we pump up the team? Like, we don't actually have a way of really pumping up the team, do we? Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. That's a really crappy Azuri, in my opinion. What do we have access to for elves? Creature. Oops, it's a text. Nothing. Okay, creature, elf. Just looking green. CMC, let's say less than 4. Legal. Pioneer. We're hunting for elves, people. We're going to hunt for elves. 64 cards. Oh, that's not good. That's slim pickings. At the beginning of your end step, put a +1/+1 counter on target beast you control. That's trash. You add mana. This one doesn't look that good. Nope. Dwindon's Elite is great. We got that one already. We have the Elvish Clan Caller. Do we have Elvish Visionary in this deck? I think we should have Elvish... I don't know, but I think we should have Elvish Visionary. Might be better than Pelt Collector. Like, Pelt Collector is a card you want to play on turn 1, but you're going to be playing things like Elves on turn 1. We'll just keep this as a possibility. Like, it keeps the gas coming, right? Oh, look at that. Elvish Reclaimer is playable. Untap a gate, hexproof. We don't want you. Growth Chamber Guardian is a pretty good one because it also creates infinite threats, right? I actually think Growth Chamber Guardian might be like underrated. Elder Gargroth for mono green Uro. It's actually a really good card, Elder Gargroth, but I don't know if it has any synergy with the rest of the deck. I think Growth Chamber Guardian is a very a good possible include. I also really like the Whisperer. The Whisperer might end up being better than that Planeswalker, drawing a card every turn. Okay, what else do we have here? Growth Chamber Guardian is pretty good. Evolve, add mana. I think this was a standard card, Incubation Druid. Mana, mana, mana. Not important. Marwyn the Nurturer. Whenever another elf enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Marwyn the Nurturer. So this is almost like your what's it called? Elvish Archdruid. Almost. I think this would be I think this is a worthy consideration. Let me know if you came across any of these cards or if you played any of these cards. Kalingi. I only test the list. So you haven't tested this one yet? Of course, you need to play Elves afterwards, but I think that's a very strong card. And you can find this with Company. And I'm looking for creatures that I can find with Company. It starts off as a 1/1, but on your next turn, let's say you end of turn Marwyn onto the battlefield, then you can like empty your hand, whatever else you have, then tap this for mana, and then well, I don't know what to do after that. After we empty our hand for mana. Yeah, Marwyn comes out with Coco. And also, it will trigger off of the other creature that you get with Coco. I'm not super impressed with Nisa. I can't remember what she does. Screw it. Who cares? I don't know how good Rex Sage is right now, but maybe that's a possibility. I'm just looking for cards that are not pure jank. I like the Steel Leaf Champion. It's a pretty good beefy card to have out on turn 2. Yeah, it's not bad as just like an individually powerful card. Sometimes you just play this on turn 2 and you win. Thorn Lieutenant is not a bad mana sink. There's not that many cards. Yeah, you do push damage with Nylia's Trample. That is true, but you don't actually have a very good way of pumping up stuff. 4 mana to give +2/+2 seems pretty crappy to me. I could be wrong. Maybe it's fine. So maybe we could have we should have a 4th company in here. How many targets do we have though? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 12. We actually, honestly, we don't have a very good company deck because there's like not enough things to target. I think actually we might be very top heavy. Maybe we have to dump these planeswalkers and add more creatures like that one that I don't mind this one. It's a lord. We might have to shrink the curve down though. Well, I think we should have this one. This 4-mana lord is pretty good. And I don't mind having like Nylea's God of the Hunts because again, it's first off, Nylea is a pretty big creature by herself, so that's pretty good. And also, it is a means of getting through damage with trample. If anything, I should have been playing this in my like Simic Merfolk deck in Pioneer. Shaman of the Pack, Shaman of the Pack, splash black for Shaman of the Pack. This deck isn't splashing black. I mean, maybe black gives us. Oh, okay, let's go see what happens if we include black. Okay, exactly these colors. What do we get access to? We get Deathrite Shaman. We get Glow Spoiler Shaman. Enters the battlefield, put top 3. No, it's useless. We only get Shaman of the Pact. It's not. It's I don't know. I think that's a little too. It's too little. Maybe it's worth it. Maybe it's worth it. Maybe it's worth it. I really don't want to say that it's pointless. But splashing black for this one card, it better be the payoff. Like it needs to like always win the game or something. That's a pretty heavy cost to play. This deck feels pretty top heavy. Like if they kill one of your mana dorks, and you don't have that many mana producers, you have like eight 1-drop mana dorks. You're like never getting to this 5-drop. I'd actually prefer that you replace the 5-drop with other creatures lower on the curve. And maybe instead of Pelt Collector, you played with Elvish Visionary. But I'm still not certain. Did you play with this deck at all? See you later, Gills to pay the bills. I would like to add 3 Marwyn. That was the creature. That was like the champion of the parish that can add mana, right? And also can be found off of Collected Company. Curve in this deck is pretty high. So how does it do? How often do you get this Vivian Monsters Advocate out? Do you have a problem with Boros Burn? Everyone has problems with Boros Burn. I'll just say that right now. Well, I mean, being lower on the curve and Collected Company will help you against Boros Burn. And there should be... what's your sideboard? Shaper Sanctuary is good. Heroic Intervention is a bit weird. Yeah, you have Reclamation Sages. I think the sideboard looks good. Sage for the Eidolon of the Great Revel. Scavenging Ooze for burn. I don't know. Does Bone Crusher Giant really need that damage prevention built into it? I have to say, if you can get Vivian Monstrous Advocate out, it actually does look like a pretty powerful card. Okay, I'll tell you this. You either dump this Planeswalker, or maybe you dump the Collected Company. This is not a good Collected Company deck. I guess it becomes a better Collected Company deck post-board when you might bring in some more of these creatures. And then I don't know, you probably side out some of these Planeswalkers. But at the moment, it honestly is not a good... It's a bad Collected Company deck. You don't even have that many targets. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plus 16. You have like barely enough things to even find, and a lot of them are garbage. You're going to Collected Company into like Elvish Mystic and Llanowar Elves way too often, and it's a bad target. It's a bad thing to hit. I would I mean, we are used to just snap auto including Collected Company in our decks. but maybe this is just an example of taking out Collected Company if it's just not that good. A lot of people talking about Bone Crusher Giant. People, it's a hot topic. Maybe that's something we can talk about tomorrow. Are there any green-white elves? Not that I know of. Well, if you can get Vivian out pretty early, I mean, this is pretty impressive by itself. I don't have very good feedback because I don't know how this deck plays out. I just don't know how this deck plays out. Collected I understand now why you have 3 collected companies. I mean, I would usually just say, oh, you need to have 4. But this is not a very good collected company deck. There's just not that many things to look for. Like Dwynn Guilt Leaf is 4 mana. Yeah, but it's a good hand. But what if your opponent is playing Burn and they burn down your mana dorks and stuff like that? Then it's not a good hand. Anyway, I'd pay really good attention to how often this thing actually gets cast. I mean, against Burn, I'm sure it's a bad card, but against other decks, maybe it is good. You can keep it around. Anyway, that's all the feedback I can give. Pay very good close attention to these collected companies if they're actually good in this deck, because I could be open to you removing the collected company and just playing something else. I just really do not see how you guys are upset by adventure cards. Why are people upset by adventure cards? There's nothing wrong with adventure cards. What is wrong with you all? Anyway, thank you very much, Klingy, for submitting the deck list. People are upset with the cards in Standard. It's card advantage, people. It's all card advantage. Anyway, that's it for today. That is it for Coffee and MTG. Thank you very much for the conversation. We had a great conversation today. A lot of good discussion. And what a better way to end Coffee and MTG by rating my future challenger, my future opponent, Jim Davis. So thank you very much, everyone, for showing up. And I will go raid Jim Davis. I'm going to set the raid up right now. He's probably practicing. Well, I don't think he's practicing goblins right now, but he's going to. He's got to get that goblins and historic fired up. I'm going to get Merfolk in historic fired up soon. And again, thank you very much for joining me today. And I'll keep brewing up the magic. Keep brewing up the coffee, and I'll keep brewing up the magic. See you next time.